We are live. Hello, everybody. Hello, hello. Whoever is here, let me know in the comments that you are here. And so I can say hi to you. I'm wondering if it's too dark. I'm kind of thinking about turning on a light. Let me know if it's too dark for you and I will turn on a light. So, welcome to the Friday night live stream. Please let me know you're here. Say hello in the comments. There she is. Hello, hello, my lady. 7 Acre Studio. Glad to have you in the house tonight. Your YouTube channel is growing, and I love watching your progress. So congratulations on that. That's huge. That's awesome. Very nice. You're very welcome. You're very welcome. What's happening in your world tonight? You just hanging out? We are live. There's 6 people on, so let me know you're here. Tell me where you are watching from, what city or country or what part of the world you are from. We're going to talk about some fun things tonight. But I'm looking forward to hearing from you and letting me know that you are here. I want to minimize my screen. Maybe I can't, but I do want to look. Northwest corner of North Carolina, 26 degrees and windy. Sounds very wintry. I don't like winter. Although I live in Waco, Texas, and normally that's a good thing because it is warm here normally, but right now it's only 36 degrees here, which is unusual for Waco. But I know that in a couple of days it will be in the 70s and 80s, so that makes me happy. All right, so we also have Curb Gaming. Hello, hello. Thank you for joining this live stream. And Marie Silva. Hello, Marie from Central California. I bet it's warm there with nice ocean breezes coming in. Highs in the 60s all week in North Carolina. That's awesome. So I'm just waiting a little bit for YouTube to roll this out and get it going. We have 12 people joining us right now. Good evening from Kansas. Hello, Teresa. It's nice to have you. Nice to have you. It's great. Well, as you can see up on my design wall, I've got something in the works going on here. And this is, hello, Joan from Alberta, Canada. It's a pleasure to have you here. Thank you so much for tuning in. This will be my next tutorial. And this block that I'm working on, it's a pretty easy block. I'm still kind of trying to think of the right way to make the tutorial on it because it can be confusing. And so I'm trying to tweak it so I can make it as simple as possible. And I had to make quite a few practice blocks to make sure I got it right. Everything was at the right angle. And I think I have it figured out to where I use as little waste as possible. So this will be my next tutorial, and I'm hoping to have that out for sure by the middle of next week. My members get a 3-day preview of my tutorials before they come out to the public, but I will have this out. I'm setting a goal for myself to have this tutorial out by the middle of next week. Linda from Minnesota. Hello, Linda. I am from Minnesota myself originally. Well, not originally, but I lived there from 7th grade up until about 8 years ago, maybe. And that's when we moved to Texas. So I feel your pain, Linda from Minnesota, because it's cold there. That's why we moved away. I don't like it. I don't like the cold. Where in Minnesota are you living, Linda? Are you in the Twin Cities area or are you somewhere else? Yeah, so this design on the quilt wall, the amazing thing about this is I've kind of been playing with my design wall, and there are so many ways to lay this quilt out to get so many different patterns. And so I'm excited to show that part to you, because it's stunning how many different designs you can get from this one simple block. And it was really time for me to dig into my scrap bin again, because I am accumulating so many scraps that I do 1, 2, 3, 4 quilts with fabric that I've bought, either pre-cuts or yardage, but then I have to revert and I have to go back and use some of those scraps. So I have to give my scraps equal time as well. Southern part of Minnesota, lots of snow this year, like down by Worthington, Rochester, kind of in that area, or are you more towards South Dakota? I'm very familiar with Minnesota, but I have heard that you've gotten heaps of snow, which is awful. I don't like winter, don't like snow. Some of the other things that is going on with me is I want to show you a couple of great projects that I discovered. How many of you, I'm interested, how many of you do your own free motion quilting on your sewing machine? Oh, by Mankato. There you go. I gotcha. So like raise your hand or say yes or something if you do free motion quilting on your own machine. I'm interested in knowing that. I know that you do, because I've seen you do it, or I've heard you talk about it. Yes, and if you can master that, I mean, not even master it, but if you can get started on it and practice it, and even if it's just sandwiching a 10-inch square or a fat quarter or some smaller piece, if you can even just get used to doing quilting on your own machine, it will save you so much money if you don't have access to a long arm, or if you don't want to pay a long armor. And no hate to long armors, because they are amazing and at what they do. But I had a couple quilts before I learned to quilt on my own machine. I had a couple quilts that I was too scared to quilt on, because I knew I would screw it up if I did it. So I took it to a long armor that's local here in Waco, and they were 2 lap size quilts, and it was like over $200 for these 2 lap size quilts to go to this long armor. And I thought, if I have to pay that much money every time I make a quilt, I can't afford to have this hobby anymore. So I ended up taking a class from the same place on beginning quilting on my own machine. And I learned so much. We just practiced E's and L's, just practice the free motion quilting. And so I just was bound determined that I was going to get good at it. And so my first couple quilts, I was so disappointed, because I was so proud of my quilt top because it was so beautiful. But then I did the free motion quilting on it as a beginner, and I thought I ruined it. I just made a mess out of this gorgeous quilt. But you know what? When it all comes down to it, and I look at those quilts now, I don't even notice the quilting. I don't even notice the bad job that I did. And so I still only see the quilt top. So it can be so easy to be hard on yourself when you are learning a new skill. And it can be so easy to just be your own worst critic. But I guarantee you that, especially if you gift that quilt, or if you give it to charity, or whatever you do with it, I promise you that nobody's going to reject that quilt because of the not so great job you did on the free motion quilting. So I would encourage you that if you don't know how to do it, or if you're just beginning to learn how to do it, to keep going, because that is so important. And in our last live stream, somebody said, we were talking about perfection and how we don't have to be perfect. But she said that practice makes progress instead of practice makes perfect. And so I have been quoting that to so many people lately, because that is so true. I'm not interested in being perfect. I've never been a perfectionist because I know that's something that I can't achieve. Nobody can. So practice makes progress. And so I love that. You can just quilt in the ditch or do wavy lines. That's right. You can. And it doesn't have to be AQS blue ribbon for every quilt. And I have never tried to get a blue ribbon for any of my quilts. I'm not interested in that. That's not why I make quilts. So, water break. So I also want to know, as far as this live stream right now, is the lighting okay? Because it seems dark a little bit to me on my screen. So I just wanted to be sure that the lighting is okay. So if you could give me some feedback on that, I would appreciate it. There's a couple things I want to show you that I've acquired. The first thing, lighting is great. Thank you. The first thing is this thing called the Quilt Halo. And well, hey, DJ, nice to see you. DJ is my son. He is our moderator for tonight. So this thing, I'm going to pull it out. It's called a Quilt Halo. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it's kind of a heavy ring. It's kind of heavy. It's got rubber around the edges. And this is for free motion quilting. So I'm going to demonstrate it during one of my tutorials, but I just got it in the mail and I'm super excited to try it, but I don't have any quilts on my machine right now. But as you're sewing, you lay this on top of your quilt and then the rubber kind of sticks to your quilt top. And then you put your hands on this as you're free motion quilting, and then you just move this around. Now, in the video for it, the girl had two of these stacked on top of each other, and they would kind of stick together because it's rubber. It must be a metal ring under there because it does have some weight to it. It's a little bit heavy, but you just kind of go like this, and then you move it around, and it moves your whole quilt with it. So I'm super excited to try this. It was, I think it was like $24, maybe something like that. And Sharon Shamber, I got it from purpledaisiesllc.com. So you can check them out. They're not paying me to do this. It's a quilting halo. See how angelic I am right now with my quilting halo? So yeah, purpledaisiesllc.com, and they should have these on their website, and they have a video to show you how it works. So I check it out, give it a shot. I haven't tried it yet. I'm super excited to try it. And so we'll see how it goes. I might try it and hate it, or I might try it and never want to go back to anything else. So we shall see. So that is one thing that is new. Another thing I got that I'm going to do after this tutorial that's up on my design wall, hi, Julie, uneven. Yes, I have a lamp right here that's kind of shining on me in a weird way. Let's see, who else is on here that I haven't said hi to? Sherry and Julie and Karen. Nice to see you all. I do want to give a shout out to my new members this month, Roberta L., Jeanette C., and Susan W. So welcome. If you're on here or not, I just want to give you a shout out. You joined my channel this month so far, and I'm super excited to go farther with you. After this tutorial, I'm going to do, hi Sherry from Pennsylvania. Nice to have you with us tonight. I love Kaleidoscope quilts, and I don't know if I've ever mentioned that before. I've done at least 3 of them. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I think I've done 3 of them, and I've taught my mom how to make them too. So we did one at her house last summer, and they are just magical for me. Like, I love doing them. They're so much fun because you just don't really know how it's going to turn out. And I know there's lots of tutorials on Kaleidoscope quilts out there. Honestly, most of the tutorials I've watched just seem so complicated. Like it doesn't have to be that complicated. And so I think when my mom and I made ours together, having somebody with you to just show you how it's done is a lot easier than trying to figure out for yourself a lot of times. But I've done, like I said, 3 or 4 of them, and I've always used yardage. So I recently picked up some yardage that would make excellent Kaleidoscope quilts. This is border fabric that I picked up that is gorgeous. And these would make pretty nice Kaleidoscope quilts because of the big print and these lines in here on the border fabric just end up being lines in your Kaleidoscope hexagons. So this would make an excellent Kaleidoscope quilt. I think I have 5 yards of this, so I will have to check the repeats to make sure I have enough to make a Kaleidoscope quilt. You want, if you're doing a hexagon Kaleidoscope quilt, you'll need 6 fabric repeats. The next fabric I got that I fell in love with is this fabric, and it is so gorgeous, but there's a lot of blue in here, and it's kind of like, it feels like the fabric's moving in a trippy way right now. Anyway, so I did see your 4-patch Kaleidoscope quilt, and it was beautiful. It turned out gorgeous. This fabric is nice, and I bought it because it is a nice big print, and I did get 6 repeats of this from my local quilt shop. But when I checked it for Kaleidoscope worthiness, there's almost just too much blue here. And in the background, the flowers would be gorgeous, but there's almost too much blue here for the Kaleidoscope. So it would be a lot of blue in this. So it's gorgeous fabric. And I feel like this live stream are not doing the colors justice on this, because colors are really trippy and stunning. The next fabric I have is this cute fabric. This is Contempo So Bloom Cherry. I can't read it. So it's by Benartex. It's a hot pink. Now I did check this for Kaleidoscope worthiness, and it would be excellent because there's not too much pink in the middle, and the flowers are nice and big. And this would make, excuse me, this would make an excellent Kaleidoscope quilt. And the last one, excuse me, I need another water break. I fell in love with this fabric. I bought this fabric when I was in Arizona visiting my parents. You guys, I love this fabric. Okay, so this one is this amazing desert scene, right? Like, how gorgeous is this? And I did buy 6, actually I buy 7 repeats of it usually, but all you need is 6. But this I checked out for Kaleidoscope worthiness, and I didn't think it would, because it's such a weird scene, and you can see that repeat is huge. Like, it's a huge repeat. But I did check it out with my Kaleidoscope test, and it would be amazing for Kaleidoscope. So I'm kind of thinking I might have to do this one. It's between this one or the pink one. Now, when I talk about Kaleidoscope worthiness, what I use is a mirror. So I got this mirror, and it is a mirror like this. I don't want to trip you out too much, but so what I do is I hold my mirror up like this, and you can see what a hexagon would look like in the mirror. So when you hold this mirror up to the fabric, you have to get the angle right. So I usually put my 60-degree triangle right in the mirror when you open it up. So you can move it to different parts of your quilt and you get an idea of what that hexagon would look like. And so that kind of gives you an idea there of that's how I look at fabric to see if it would make a good kaleidoscope quilt. And so, like I said, you have to get the angle right. So you have to do it for a 60-degree angle, but that kind of gives you an idea of what that would look like. And so I got this mirror, and it is Marty Mitchell mirror. I don't know if you can see that, but I just got this at Missouri Star. I looked for them all over, and I think it was like $14 or something. I got it at Missouri Star. So when I tried it on the pink fabric, it was pretty cool. And so kind of give you an idea there of, you can see the kaleidoscope colors there of what that would look like as a hexagon. So that kind of gives you an idea of whether it would be kaleidoscope worthy or not. So that's my little test. And so I love my little mirror. And it's just a fun thing to play with and a nice thing to have around. But the only thing I have not made a kaleidoscope out of is quilt panels. But you can buy 6 quilt panels, and you can make a kaleidoscope out of quilt panels. And so you actually need 6 to make the kaleidoscopes, but if you get an additional panel, you can incorporate that into the quilt. And so in a couple years, my husband and I are moving to the Caribbean, and so we are going to retire there. I'm not retiring. I'm still going to do this, but I'm just going to do it in a tropical place. And so I found this panel. You can see the ocean and the beach chairs. Like, how awesome is that, right? That's going to be me in about 6.5 or 7 years. So this panel, I got it on sale. It's got the ocean and the sky, and it's amazing. And so I bought 7 of these panels, and I'm going to make a kaleidoscope quilt out of that. And I also got some seashell fabric, if you can see that. And this is going to be a border for it, which is pretty cool. And I also got some water fabric, and this is going to be another border. This is an outside border. So I'm going to try my hand at making a kaleidoscope quilt out of panels. And I've been wanting to do it for so long, but god darn it, panels are expensive. And panels are, you could pay $10 or more for a panel, but I happened to get these panels on sale. I think they were like $5 or $5.50 or $5.99 a piece. So that was well worth it to get 7 of them. That was only, I think it was like $32 for 7 panels. So I'm going to give that a shot. I think I'll do that after this tutorial that's up on my design wall. So I want to know what you think about that. And I want to know what you're working on right now. So I'm so excited to try that. So what is everybody else working on now? Are you working on UFOs? Are you working on half-done projects? Are you starting new things? What are you working on right now? Okay, let's see if I missed any. Joan, she says I do free motion on her Juki. I'm a little jealous. I would love to have a Juki. That would be amazing. 70 Acre Studio just did a flower art quilt. That sounds amazing. Is it big or little? Is it like a wall hanging or like a big bed type quilt? tiny. Oh, a little baby one. Good for you. Oh, 5x7. Like, yeah, like that. That sounds awesome. That sounds amazing. Very nice. Julie S. did a block for a guild. Did a block for guild president. Make white red strips for Quilt of Valor for guild. Good for you. Good for you. Quilts of Valor. What an amazing organization. And next this weekend, she's working on pillows. You're a busy girl. I love it. I love it. Very nice. Very nice. I am, pillowcases for sick kids. Well, how lovely. You are a lovely person. That's wonderful. Good for you. Well done. I need to finish this. I've been kind of lagging a little bit. I need to finish this row, and I think I need 1 or 2 more rows on the bottom, maybe another row. I need to make it big enough because it's of course once you sew it all together it shrinks, so I need to make it big enough at least for a lap quilt. Like I need another lap quilt. I'll be giving away a lot of my quilts soon. I need to start giving them away for events, birthdays, charity, Christmas presents, whatever. They need to leave my home. That's for sure. So what else is going on? Who else do I have on here that would like to say hello or let me know where they are from? Yes, please. Let me know what the weather's doing where you are from. Let's see here. What else is going on? How many of you are members of a quilt guild or some kind of a local group where you live? I'd be interested in knowing that. And Winnipeg, Canada, working on a doll bed quilt. Oh, Karen, that sounds lovely. I haven't seen one of those done for a long time. I love it. That would be, see, I would do that because those are quick projects. Very nice. And okay, here's a question about doll bed quilts. Do you bind those like a normal quilt, or do you do it where you flip it inside out? Julie, she says, I wish I was a nice person, but just want to get these off my list so I can work on my stuff. You are a nice person. Anybody that donates their time and energy like that is definitely a nice person. Don't cut yourself short, lady. All right. Here's my dream. Like, I have this dream to start a local quilt studio. Oh wait, Karen Little. I do it like a traditional quilt. I just use a smaller binding. Well, that makes sense. That's good. I just always kind of wondered. It seems like the smaller the project, the less you would do a binding and you would just do the inside out thing. Julie's in 2 guilds. Oh my gosh, that must keep you busy. I started to become a member of a guild here in Waco, Texas, and they met. I think they met the first Monday of every month, maybe. I can't remember. Hello, Renee. Love your channel. Greetings from Montana. Snowing and below zero. On its way next week. Ew, yucky. Yucky. I don't like it. Thank you, Renee, for those kind words. So anyway, yeah. So I was a member of this guild for a year. I thought, well, I'll give it a year and see if I like it. And this guild, I think they did a lot of good things. They had a lot of side groups that were did like charity projects, and they donated some of their quilts to like the local fire departments to give to kids or families who've been devastated by fires and things like that. Karen is not a guild member. I don't drive and live in a large city. All of them meet in the evenings, and I don't like going out on buses at night. Girl, I don't blame you. So anyway, I was in this guild. I thought I'd give it a try for a year, and it turns out that this guild, the group of ladies that was in this guild, they had been together for years, and they were all retired. All of them, I would say, were retired. There might have been one or two that were under retirement age. And every time I would go, the same person would come up to me and say, "Hi, I'm so-and-so. What's your name?" And I would say, "My name's Suze. I was here last week. I met you last week." And she'd be like, "Oh, well, your hair looks different," or something like that. And every month that I went, the same lady would come up to me and introduce herself. And I just did not end up bonding with anybody in that group. Like I just felt like I was treated like a stranger every time that I went. And I thought, they don't even know I'm here and they won't even miss me if I'm gone. So I just stopped meeting because I just felt like a new person every single month, even though I went for a whole year. And that's the only real quilt group in my community. But yeah, short-term memory. But here's my dream. My dream is to lease a local space, a local commercial space here in my community, and open a public quilt studio. So I would love to, and then people can come in and use this quilt studio by the day or by the week. They can have their little sewing station. I would have big tables in the middle, big cutting areas. I would have big ironing stations along the walls, and all of the walls would be covered with design boards. So people could come in, groups could come in, they could hold their guild meetings there, they could have other kinds of meetings there. And so I would make it first come, first serve. Like you could come in, have your sewing station, your sewing desk, and it would have lockers so you could keep your stuff there, and your own lock. Like in a gym, you have lockers. They would have to be big enough to maybe hold a sewing machine or fabric or anything like that. But that is my dream, to have a local quilt studio. And that way I could also have a bigger studio for what I'm doing. And I could have an actual YouTube studio and a larger quilt studio for myself. And so that is my huge dream. And so I am saving money. All of my income that I make from memberships and from if I sell any quilts or anything like that, is going in this fund for this dream of mine. And so I am trying to raise money for this studio, this quilt studio. And so I'm super excited about that. And I do have a couple people that have contributed so far. I started a GoFundMe page for it, and I'm not advertising for that right now, but I'm just telling you about my dream. This is my dream for my community. People could use it for, it doesn't have to be a quilting space. People would use it for sewing or anything else. Probably not paint, because I don't want it to be super messy. Renee says that she would love to start a fabric co-op so that members can buy fabric affordably. I think that's $1 million idea. I totally do. And I think that you could probably make that happen. I think that's a brilliant idea. Yeah, they have co-ops for everything else. They have food co-ops. They have all kinds of stuff like that. Yeah, I think that's brilliant, because fabric is expensive. And I understand why it's expensive, just like everything else. But yeah. Yeah. And so, Karen, I've been obsessively looking at local commercial spaces in my area. And I don't think I'd need that much space, maybe like 1,500 square feet to start. I mean, a sewing station wouldn't take that much space. You could just have, I think, but we're still looking at about $2,000 a month to lease a space like that. So it would have to be financially feasible, at least to pay for itself. And so that's my dream. That's my goal. And so I've had my eyes open and I've been looking at local commercial space, and I would just want a big open space. Like, it doesn't have to be, a lot of the spaces I find, the commercial spaces I find, are like separate offices and things like that. I don't want that. I just want a big open community space like a quilt studio. And there, you're right, Julie, there are a lot of hidden costs. So I've been looking at leases too, and what that means. Sometimes if you lease a space, it's just like one price because they pay for all of the utilities, insurance, all of that stuff. And other times, there's all kinds of additional things in there. One space I looked at, it was just, they paid for all the utilities. The only utility they didn't pay for was phone or internet. I wouldn't need a phone because I have a phone, and I would just need to pay for the internet space because I would upload my YouTube tutorials from that space as well. Plus, I could go there and take a nap if nobody was there, and it would be so quiet. Have this big beanbag or sofa in the corner, and I could take a nap in a quiet space. Anyway, plus insurance. That's right, Julie. So anyway, that's just my dream. I think that a lot of people don't have spaces to quilt, and if they're have to clear off their dining room table every night in order to make dinner because that's where they're quilting on or sewing on or whatever like that, they can come in, and I don't even know what I would charge, but it would be first come, first serve, $10 a day or something, and they can lay their quilt out on a big table and get it ready for quilting or whatever they want to do, to pin it or baste it or have big old nice ironing stations. Yeah. Your studio doesn't have running water or heat? Like, that sounds awful. Like, it's cold. It's cold. I bet you have space heaters or something like that, maybe, I would think. So anyway, that's about me and my dream. The other alternative, and I mentioned this during my last live stream, would be to, and my husband hates this idea, I would turn my master bedroom into a quilting studio and then make this room our new master bedroom. He doesn't like that idea. We have a really big master bedroom, but yeah. Renee Wild says the mechanic at the end of our road put a shed in for a local pottery gal. We are pretty rural though. Like, I think that sounds amazing. I would love to have a flex space like that. Like, I would need something bigger than a shed, obviously, but yeah, that's my dream. I need more space. I need a bigger space. My room here is where I do everything, and that whole wall is one big shelf. That's where I keep all my fabric, any books that I have, things like that. Yes, Karen, that's what I would do. And that reminds me, excuse me, that reminds me, I actually looked at studio apartments too. If I could lease a studio apartment per month, I would use the big studio space area as my quilting studio, and the apartment complex would probably think I'm pretty weird just showing up once a day to and then leaving again, but it'd still be worth it. Yeah. I thought about using my living room too, but I have my living room and kitchen is kind of one big open concept. And so I don't want all that cooking smells and stuff to interact with my fabric. You did that 30 years ago. I might do that. I don't know. I might just do that. Just for my own quilting studio space. But I would love to share that space with other people. I just think, quilting is such a fun thing to do, but it's even more fun, I think, when you can do it with other people and share ideas and kind of rub off of each other. And I think, yeah, I think that would be amazing. And so right now we don't plan on moving until my husband retires, and he's got a countdown calendar. So it's like 6 years and 7 months and so many days. But yeah. So Merlene Manley, are you located? I am located in Waco, Texas. And Christina Carr says, I love all your ideas. Thank you so much. Those are kind words, and I appreciate that so much. And sometimes it's hard to come up with original ideas. Most of my quilts are original ideas. And when I'm creating or when I'm trying to think of new ideas, I've got my graph paper in front of me. I'm sketching. I'm looking at things on Pinterest, not quilts. I'm looking at other things like graphic design and things like that, and think, how can I make that with fabric? I look at when I'm out and around, I look at things like the tiles on the floor. I look at architecture. I look at all kinds of things. Nancy, hi Nancy, from Canada says, I have a sewing room off my bedroom, which was once a granny suite. I love it, but would love to have enough room for a long iron. I hear you, sister. I hear you. Renee Wild says, do you use any quilt design software? I own EQ8, Electric Quilt 8. I thought that was the software that I needed to be a quilt designer. Turns out I never, ever use it. I did play with it quite a bit. And a couple of my own quilt designs, I would just put in there to actually make a diagram of like block placement. But for me, that software was a waste of money because I don't really use it. I saved up to buy it. It was like, I got it. I think I got it on sale for like $150. And I actually was kind of disappointed. I thought I would use it all the time, but I just rarely use it. I can't remember last time I even opened the software. For me, it is easier to sketch stuff around graph paper, and then I can break it down and actually do the math and figure out how to make that out of fabric. So that is what I do. So no, I don't use any quilt design software in general. Renee, thank you for asking. Does anybody else have any questions they would like to ask me? I love answering questions. I'm married. My husband and I have been married for, well, I think this year, in July, it will be 22 years. And we met on the internet in 1998. Excuse me, when the internet was still kind of new. And since we met online, our first date was to go see You've Got Mail. So that was kind of an appropriate first date for meeting on the internet. I have 3 children, 3 grown children from a previous marriage. And then I have 3 grandchildren also. My husband has 2 daughters. And DJ says, this may be a dumb question, but what holds your fabric on the wall? My design board is a vinyl tablecloth that I bought at Walmart. And it's got like a felt back. And so my fabric just sticks right to it. So it's like when you were a kid and you played with felt on a wall, it's the same kind of idea. So that is what makes it stick to the wall. Now, if it's something heavy, if it's a heavy whole quilt top or something, I might just put some pins at the top. But that is what holds my fabric up. It's like magic. Magic. Okay, 70 Acres Studio. I met my hubby in 1992 through a dating subscription. Yes, and I think the first picture I saw of my husband was on Match.com. And I thought he had a very sexy smile. So we started emailing, and then we started calling each other on the phone. And then a few months later, we actually met in person. And we haven't left each other since. So it worked out pretty well 22 years later. Do you long arm or use domestic? I use my domestic machine for all of my quilting. I do not have a space for a long arm, so I do not own one yet. Someday I maybe will if I have space for one. You said I just got a Juki DX 4000 QVP and have started playing with the free motion quilting on the national parks panels. That sounds amazing. Have fun with that, and you're going to get so good at that the more that you practice. So I'm excited for you. Those national park quilt panels are beautiful. Julie S says I don't have a design wall, I have a design carpet. I had a design carpet too before I decided that I need to start putting things up on the wall, especially for tutorial purposes, because it's kind of hard to show a quilt on the floor or across my bed, or I would do that. Trying to baste a quilt on the floor is tough because it's not even, it's not hard, and or even on a bed. I end up pinning my bed, and I'm a pin baster. I tried all the other methods and hated all of them, so I went back to pins, and that's the way I do it. And I baste my quilts right on my table, and my table is adjustable in height, so I can put it up high or down low. And let's see what else. Yes, Karen. I hear you, girl. 74, I can get down on the floor, but getting up is a chore. That was a poet. That was a rhyme, by the way. And I feel you. My knees don't like it when I try to get up off the floor. But well, there's my dough yoder. Is it dough or do? I think it's dough. Maybe short for Dorothy, but it's nice to see you on here. I was hoping you'd be on. I'm glad you're here. What was I talking about? So yeah, so a pin baster. I'm definitely a pin baster. I've tried all the other things. The only thing I haven't tried, I don't think I've tried the powder, the sprinkle powder. I don't want powder everywhere. The pins work for me. That's what I'm going with. Do any of my children quilt? They do not. I have 2 sons and 1 daughter. I'm hoping that one of my descendants, chooses to quilt, but no, none of them do. My daughter is an amazing woodworker, so she likes to make things out of wood, fireplace mantles, furniture, things like that. So she's super handy when it comes to that sort of stuff. And so she does not quilt. My mother is a quilter. Both of my grandmothers were quilters, although they don't, I think if they were alive today and saw all the shortcuts and the way that we make quilts now compared to even 30 years ago is amazing. And they didn't have rotary cutters. They didn't chain piece anything. They didn't have all these rulers and things that we have now. They had templates. They had to cut all the fabric with scissors. No, thank you. The way we quilt now is so much easier and makes it so much better. Karen says the powder works well. It's quite granular, so I don't find it overly messy. I don't quilt large things, though. Table runners, baby quilts are about it. Anything larger goes to a long armor. Yep. I still have cans of spray based here, but the nozzles would get sticky. And I have dogs. I have little Yorkie dogs, so I just didn't want to take any chances with any of that. Julie, I took my first quilt class 45 years ago. I used to make templates out of cardboard. Yes, I remember my grandmother had all of those templates, cardboard templates. And part of me thinks that if they saw all the shortcuts that we take now, they would call it cheating. Even machine quilting, right? Like nobody really machine quilted except maybe Stitch in the Ditch, but everything was hand quilted because anything other than that was cheating. Which brings me to my next topic. Let's talk about the quilt police. Let's defund the quilt police. How about that, huh? Yeah, I'm getting political. Let's defund the quilt police. So, I've been told that binding a quilt by machine is not allowed. And so I just kind of chuckled because I thought that was funny. I am never going to hand bind a quilt because I don't want to. And the quilt police are not going to come knocking on my door. I like to do things fast. And I don't really watch TV, so I'm not going to sit in front of TV and hand sew something. And I have to be sewing or planning or quilting. When I know what project I'm going to do, I just want to get it done. I enjoy the process and everything, but I pretty much make a tutorial on almost every quilt I make. So, and my goal is to have a tutorial out at least once every 2 weeks. And so I have to have that project completed before I can make that tutorial, or at least I have to have the quilt top completed before I make the tutorial. And yes, I have used decorative stitches on binding. I think that looks amazing. I made some tablecloths, not tablecloths. I made some placemats to match my dishes. I have Pioneer Woman dishes. And so I found some fabric that is similar. And so I made some placemats and I did all these decorative. I wanted to try every decorative stitch on my machine. So I tried them all on the placemats and they look awesome. Julie says, I also reject the concept of quilt police. I do me. Yeah, I think we should revolt and go protest. 70 Acre Studio can help make the signs. And so we can quilt the signs. We can hold up quilts to say, defund the quilt police. But mostly I think it's just, you know how it is with everything, right? So like you see these Facebook posts that say, kids today will never know what it's like to dial a rotary phone. Okay, big deal. Like, I'm not proud of myself because I know what a rotary phone is, like, who cares, right? I mean, there's a better way to do it now and a faster way to make a call. Or, I'm proud of myself that I have never watched Game of Thrones. You see those Facebook posts. It's like, well, so what? Good for you, but it doesn't matter. Like, you have to do it the way you want to do it. Let's see. Nancy, my friend Nancy says, I bind my quilts by machine, hand binding, no time for that. I 100% agree. I quit quilting years ago, Christina says, but then got back into it because I noticed people didn't follow rules as much as they did. I hate rules. I want to do what I want to do. I think I have a lot of sisters in this room right now. Oh, 70 Acres says she stays off Facebook. It's too ugly. Haven't watched TV since 2017. Yeah, I do watch a few. Well, my husband I only see him like an hour and a half a day. So that time is spent eating dinner and we usually watch a show and then he goes to bed at like 8:00. So that's the only time I really watch TV, but that's our kind of together time. So I'm not going to sit and sew anything. She watched The Chosen. I will do on nice binding on a quilt. I consider a really, really nice one. And then you'll hand sew it, Julie, if you consider it a really, really nice one. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. Myrene says she never hand binds. Doe says there are no rules. You guys are my people. You all are my people. I know that right now. Yeah. And mostly I think it's people who are like I said, back in my day, we used to do it like this. Well, that's great, but now it's my day. I can do it like this. Karen says, for me, quilting is a joy. It's a way to share some skills with others who don't quilt and appreciate what I do. I have sewn since I was 8. but only started quilting seriously about 35 years ago. Good for you, Karen. Yeah. Who said they quit quilting? Oh, Christina. I quit quilting years ago, then got back to it. So you quit because of the quilt police? Because of the rules? Because I'm curious as to why you quit. RD Cole, I haven't owned a TV since 2014. Good for you. I could get by without a TV. 100%. 100%. And we gave up our cable, and now we only have Prime and Netflix and HBO, I think. Julie, I actually don't really run into any quilt police that are super critical. I run into quilt police on my channel once in a while, and I've had to go through. I've had to mature myself a little bit in order to respond to them. And the people, there are some people that give me thumbs down because I do things in a way that they don't like, and that's okay. But the thing about the thumbs down, I don't get many, but I get a few. I wish YouTube would, if you're going to take the time to give somebody a thumbs down, I think that you should have to give a reason. Excuse me. Because it does affect my channel when I do get a thumbs down. I do know that I'm getting a thumbs down. I don't get a lot. Usually mine are, over 99% thumbs ups, which is good. But I do notice the thumbs down. Let's see. Christina had quilted over 30 years. Yes, hate the rule since you were 8. Wow, DJ. 70 Acre Studio. I stopped quilting in 2000 when I destroyed my neck trying to get a quilt done for a book. I got back into it 3 years ago, but have to keep the quilt small. Julie says, oh, yes, you have a wider circle than me. Karen, DJ, I learned to sew when I was a brownie. Aw, Danny, DJ doesn't know what a brownie is. A brownie is like a baby Girl Scout, Danny. My mom sewed all of our clothes, so was happy to show me how to operate a machine. I've been sewing ever since. I was a brownie, too. I was a brownie in Lincoln, Nebraska. Marlene, quilting is my therapy. If I'm upset, husband tells me I need to go sew. He knows it calms me. That's nice. Karen, I'm limited to the size I make. I have rheumatoid arthritis, and my hands don't manage the large quilts. Y'all are awesome. So, anybody have any questions for me? Anybody want to know anything? I was talking about my husband, my kids, the moderator DJ, he's on here. He's actually my youngest son. He would love to learn to quilt. There are not enough man quilters. We need more man quilters. Thank you, Doe. I appreciate the thumbs up. That helps my channel out a lot. It really does. DJ, there's a lot of actual quilting is a lot like construction. My husband is amazing at construction. One time he built a picnic table from scratch, just from his head. Do you remember that, Danny? When he built this picnic table, and it was like a 12-foot picnic table. He just went to the store and came back with a bunch of lumber and then started pounding a hammer, and then there was a picnic table. And so after watching him do stuff like that, when I started designing and making quilts, I realized that quilt construction is a lot like construction, that you have to still measure twice and cut once, and you have to do math and all of that stuff. So I think that is one thing that the men quilters probably like about it, is that it does, it's just like constructing anything. And so the quilting marine is awesome. My husband, I keep telling him there's a marine. My husband is a marine. So it's like there's another Marine and he's quilting, honey, and he's not a girly man or anything. He's just like, he's a man and he's quilting. It's awesome. RD Cole, thank you for sharing your talents and skills. I also appreciate the length of your videos and the attention span of a gnat. So I love your content. RD, you're hilarious. I like Quilting Marine. Yes, Julie, I like him too. He's actually doing a Kaleidoscope quilt right now. This amazing butterfly fabric. It's beautiful. But he gets very intricate, and sometimes he does it over 3 or 4 videos. Like I would just do one video of how to make a Kaleidoscope quilt. Let's see, the Off Kilter Quilter, Ian, Rob Appel, the Quilting Marine. Yeah, Rob Appel, I met him last summer at Stitch in Heaven here in Texas. And we had a 30-minute conversation about the quilting business and everything like that. Just me and him and my husband. And he was so nice. And there's a picture of me and him on my community page. If you scroll down, you'll eventually find it. I think it's on there. DJ, I was most impressed when my husband, jacked up our 100-year-old house in Minneapolis and rebuilt the foundation. Yeah, I thought he was going to die under that house. He jacked up our 3-story house. It was crazy. Quilting Marine is great. His attitude is only fabric and it's only thread. Yeah, I love that guy too. I think quilting is his therapy as well. Mr. Domestic is pretty good. I have to see his channel lately. I think I know who you're talking about. Maybe I don't. But if it's who I'm thinking of, it sounds like he quit. I might be thinking of someone else, but I think Mr. Domestic called it quits because he was upset with some of the things about the industry. There's also a Scottish fellow on YouTube, the Colorblind Quilter. That's awesome. I would love to see that, because who can resist a Scottish accent? Come on. Come on. All right. So, yeah, so there are men quilters out there, Danny. So maybe, DJ, you can carry on the legacy of Revelation Quilts when I am gone. Because Lord knows there's going to be enough quilts. And you can just carry on that YouTube legacy. Yeah. Oh, the Quilting Cowboy. Yes, you're right, Virginia. Thank you for letting me know. Mr. Domestic is someone else. Yep. DJ says he'd like the process. So maybe I need to take him under my wing, under my mama wing, and him and I can make a quilt together next time you come to Waco and visit me, Danny. So how about them apples? I would love that. That would be so fun. You can continue the Revelation Quilts YouTube channel. And I guarantee you, if you're a man making a quilt, that's an instant YouTube channel right there, because that is out of the norm. Women who do YouTube channels about quilting are a dime a dozen. And so you have to have something about you or the way you do your tutorials that stand out. And just being a man, immediately that's your niche right there. All right. Well, anyway, lots of talented folks. Amen, Julie. Absolutely. Crumb quilting is so relaxing. I went through a crumb quilting phase for sure. But then once I started organizing my scraps, I don't really have any crumbs anymore. All my scraps are organized into certain squares or certain strips. So, but I guess you could use those as crumbs as well. Do you have many fabric shops locally, or do you buy online? Renee says, I used to have 2 local fabric shops. One just closed like 2 weeks ago because the owner retired. And the other one I do have, they're quite expensive, but it's a beautiful shop. So I don't usually buy from them. I usually buy online. I buy quite a bit from Missouri Star, and their shipping has gotten very fast, which makes me really happy. And I also get some things online from Joann's once in a while, not a lot. I did like the fabric shop that closed. I was sad that they closed, which is kind of why I wanted to start that local public quilt studio, because now there's kind of a quilting space need or availability. She had like a little quilting space in the back of her shop where ladies would gather, people would gather to quilt. Every time I get a quilt long armed, I receive a large Ziploc bag with crumbs. Oh, there you go. Yeah, yeah. I have bought from Soya. In fact, I think, yeah, one of these one. I think this fabric I got from Soya. Local shop charges $18 a yard. Holy cow, $18 a yard for fabric? That is a lot. I think most my local quilt shop, I think they're charging $12 a yard for fabric. Joanne sells Kona cotton, so I use my coupon. Kona is Kona. Amen, Julie. Yes. Yes, your use of cutting up your scraps is how I found your channel. Oh, thanks, Connie. I love that video too. Like every time I would organize my scraps, I'm like, I got to make a tutorial about this because this is an awesome method I have. So I've got my whole shelf there. That's just like, this is my bin for 3-inch squares. This is my bin for 5-inch squares. This tutorial right here is all my 5-inch solid color scraps. I'm in a large city in Canada. We have quilt stores, but since I don't drive, it's hard to get there. I buy online from within Canada. The cost for shipping from the US is really expensive. I bet it is, Karen. Quilting cotton in Canada is $18, $20 a yard. Unless you go to Walmart, then you usually don't get quality cotton, though. You can. I've ordered fabric from Walmart online, and I've gotten decent fabric that way. But if I go into their store, it's not as good quality, but I can order it online from them, and it seems to be better. So I don't know if they have a different vendor for that or what. I have to watch that video again. My scraps are all over. Renee Wild. So you use Minky? I haven't figured out how to quilt with it as a backing yet. I have not used Minky yet, Renee. I have heard good and bad things about it. I know that the results of using Minky on the back is amazing, and every time I've seen it, it's gorgeous. But I've heard that it's kind of weird to work with. So I haven't bought any. I haven't tried it yet, but I would like to try it. Julie, yeah, so yeah, Walmart's Waverly Solids. Yep. Joanne now carries Christina B. So yeah, I was recently on vacation. Okay. I don't want to poo-poo anybody. So yeah, it just is what it is. You have some experiences and you just, you kind of learn. I would, Donna Jordan is another one that I like watching her tutorials because they're straight and to the point. Her shipping, last time I ordered shipping from her, it kind of took a while, but I'm in Texas, she's in Oregon, so that's kind of a long way. But I do like the fact that her husband cuts all these he does his own pre-cuts, and some of those pre-cuts are gorgeous. So I think I might be looking at some of their pre-cuts. Like he does they just make their own jelly rolls, and I love that. So I might take advantage of that. Let's see. I don't want to lose where I'm at now. Joanne's has Liberty of London now. Oh, I didn't know that. That's good to know. Waverly is beautiful. Renee Wild flannel solids from Walmart is nice. Only $20 for 8 yards. Yeah. Minky is slippery. Yeah, I bet it is. I don't know. And okay, so for anybody that's sewn with Minky, here's what I want to know. Do you get a lot of lint in the bottom, like in your machine? Does it you know what I mean? Like, do you have to clean your machine more? Julie, yes, I love Donna Jordan. Yeah, I like her style. I do. She has somebody film her tutorials for her. So I look at stuff like that. I'm like, she doesn't have to set up a different camera for every shot. So she's got somebody actually filming for her. Like, I want that. Minky from Shannon Fabrics is ready to use on the backs. It quilts up nice. Minky is nasty to work with, but awesome to cuddle with. I pinned every 1/2 inch turned and tied. I got one of Matt Jordan hand cut layer cakes for Christmas. Yeah. You won a quilt from her? That is amazing. Like I sign up every time. I'm like, one of these days I have to win. But if you think of how many thousands of people sign up for that. Oh, thank you, Connie. That's good to know. I hate cleaning my machine. Maybe I'll wait on the Minky. No lint. But I use Shannon Minky. It's much better than Joanne's stuff. Me too. I never win anything. Yeah. Karen Little, I enjoy Mom and Pop Quilt Shop. Also, they are in Nova Scotia, Canada. I won a quilt from them about 2 years ago. It's awesome. That's amazing. I can't remember last time I won anything. I've won your hearts. That helps. Thank you. All right. All right. Any more questions? We've been going for a little over an hour and 11 minutes. There's 33 people watching. Thank you, everybody, for watching. 70 Acres, thank you. I love you, too. I really enjoy talking to everybody. I'll give a little plug for membership. Thank you to the people who have joined as members. I really appreciate you. And there'll be extra content for you, of course. Teresa says, somewhere I heard that you can use the kitchen press for top. Wait. Somewhere I heard that you can use the kitchen press for top of your bowls, etc., to put monkey prior to cutting. Decrease. Okay. There's got to be some autocorrect something going on in that sentence, maybe. Because I'm not sure what you mean, Teresa. Minky should be kinky. That's what you're saying. Okay. Monkey. Press and seal. Yeah. Have you made a collage quilt? I have not made a collage quilt. That's really not my style, I think. I've seen them. They're beautiful. But I don't think that's something that I would enjoy. So I have not made a collage quilt. But I do like looking at them. I do like looking at them, and I've seen them. There's very few patterns of other people that I follow or that I do. Although I did download a pattern that I saw. What did I do with it? I'm going to get it. I'll be right back. Look how cute this is. I hope you can see it. It's like Hawaiian shirts. Like, isn't that cute? It's fat quarters. It uses fat quarters. It says Collection for a Cause, Sunshine, Howard Marcus, Moda. It's a free download. The finished size is 68 by 70. And I will tell you where I downloaded it from. Oh, I accidentally stapled my I-9 to the back. In loving memory of Jean Stewart. Okay, where did I download this from? Oh, now I'm going to have to. That didn't show up. Maybe if you Google Collection for a Cause, Sunshine is the name of the quilt. It's got all these little Hawaiian shirts, and my printer didn't do it justice as far as the color goes, but I saw it on a Facebook group that I'm in, a Texas Quilters Facebook group that I'm in. I think that's where I saw it. And yeah, I might follow that pattern, but normally I don't follow other people's patterns. I don't even like to look at other quilts on Pinterest. I don't like to do other people's projects because I feel like that kind of taints my brain, and I want all of my designs to be my own. So I look at other things for inspiration. Let's see. Renee, how sweet. The Collage Quilter in Utah has weekly live tutorials. Teresa says, love your innovative quilt design. So refreshing. Thank you. so much, Teresa. That's nice to hear. I'm really glad that my my quilting style and my quilting tastes appeal to you, because honestly, I just do what I like. I do the things I like. There's so many mock-ups. I have a whole cubby. That cubby right there is full of orphan blocks that of mock-ups of designs that I've tried. I'm like, nah, that's not going to work. Nah, that's not going to work. Someday I'm going to make this massive quilt. Sunshine Hawaiian shirt quilt pattern. Yes, I believe that's it, DJ. Thank you. Thank you. I know you can't post a link in there, but it is a free download. So if anybody's interested in that. So yeah, so I really draw things out on graph paper, and I do a mock-up in fabric. If that's something I feel either I can teach, if it's easy enough that someone who's just starting out can make it. If it's something I like, you know, I would hate to do a tutorial on something that I hated. Like, that would be awful. And so all my tutorials and all the things I've uploaded to YouTube are just things that I like and that I'm interested in. So I know if I'm interested in it, that other people might be too. And I know I'm not everyone's cup of tea, and that's fine. That's fine. And, I don't like super traditional quilts. I would say I'm more of a modern quilter, but I do like simplicity, and I want it to be simple enough that I can teach it in one video, and I want the results to be astounding, so to speak. So, yeah. So anyway, I do look at Pinterest. I try to ignore the quilt pictures on Pinterest because I really want all of my ideas to be original. That's really important to me. Somebody did email me, and you can get in touch with me at revelationquilts@yahoo.com if you need to email me about something. But she emailed me, and the Potama quilt, which has gotten the most views with over 50,000 views. She found a different layout for that, where she was playing around, and the layout she made was amazing. And she emailed me asking if she could have my permission to teach her guild that quilt. And I said, absolutely, of course. And as long as you give me credit for the original design. And her layout was beautiful. I mean, it was stunning. And she goes, well, do you want to give this new layout a name? And I said, no, you've made that new layout. You get to name it. So that's awesome. Renee Wild, what kind of batting do you like? I usually have an 80-20 batting, and I buy my batting by the bolt, and I get it from walmart.com. I don't know what brand name it is. I could look at the bolt and see, but they just ship it to me, and it's inexpensive. I don't think I don't know what brand name it is, and I should be using Hobbs because Hobbs is made here in Waco. I could probably get it in bulk right here in Waco. Bye, Marlene. Thanks for joining in. Julie says, I haven't bought a pattern in a long while. I see something and make it my own. Or as I like to say, I can't leave well enough alone. Amen, girl. That's right. That's right. Because you have to express your own creativity. And that's what I like best about quilting, is I can express my own creativity. I can take an idea that's in my head and put it on paper and then turn it into fabric and put it up like that. And so I love that. Yeah, that's good. I mean, I learned to quilt by following patterns. Obviously, that's how a lot of people learn to quilt. But I just decided that I didn't want my quilts to look like everyone else's. My mom has a couple friends who are quilters, and they go out and shopping together, and they buy the same pattern and the same fabric, and they both make the same exact quilt. And I just don't get it. I don't get it. There's no individuality shown in there at all. I mean, they're nice people, But I don't want to be the quilt police either. I don't want to tell people what they can and can't make or how they're supposed to do things. So yeah, that's 70 Acre Studios. That's the same batting I use. Patterns are important in the beginning. I agree, because it gives you consistent, you need consistency. Like, it teaches you things, like it teaches you about a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and it teaches you how to make a half square triangle, and it teaches you those things. And I really I really try to learn a new technique with each quilt I make. And so that's how I learned how to make Kaleidoscope quilts. And that's how I learned how to make Bargello quilts. And that's how I learned how to do all of these different techniques, is because I tried to learn something new with each quilt I make. Yeah, quilters are rebels, maybe. We don't like anyone else telling us what to do. It's just the way it is. I was always rebel as a kid too. I was the oldest in my family, so I was the practice kid. Karen Little, I'm a rebel. I follow a pattern for 2 quilts. The first one I made, and one that I made for my son and daughter-in-law's wedding, it was too complicated to do myself. Yeah. I have a ton of quilt books here that I haven't looked at in ages, or quilt books and magazines. DJ, we are a bunch of wild and crazy gals. Right on. All right. Anybody else have anything they could like to ask me, or things they want to know? Or this will be my next tutorial. And like I mentioned earlier, I'm going to have this up hopefully before the middle of next week. Members will see it before the general public, so they will see it a few days before. If you're interested in membership, just hit the join button at the top of any video or on my page. There's different tiers of membership, and you get different things with each level of membership. Shout out to my members. Thank you for joining. And Julie, okay, it's getting late in Maryland. I need some shut-eye. Good night, Julie. And it's probably, well, it's 10:23 here, so yeah, it's getting a little bit late here too, although I'm a late person, so I'm up forever. But yeah, this is awesome. I love talking to you. We are going to continue this live stream. We're going to be doing this the 3rd Friday of every month. So at 9 p.m. So I will be marking that on my calendar. I just really enjoyed the last one we did. I enjoyed this one we did. So we can look forward to that. Thank you to those who've joined my channel as members. I appreciate you. And thank you to my subscribers. I appreciate you. And give it the thumbs up. That really helps. YouTube doesn't pay by subscribers, but I do appreciate my subscribers, because they're my tribe. And so I appreciate that. And so I get paid by views, and YouTube looks at the thumbs ups when they look at the algorithm, so to speak. And I'm also going to be putting in some shorts, starting to play with shorts a little bit. Thank you, Doe. I appreciate that. That was so much fun. And so that's all I have. If anybody has anything else to say it in the next minute or so. Otherwise, we are going to end for the night. I thank you for joining. DJ, thank you for moderating. It's always great to talk to you, see you. Give me a call later if you want, if it's not too late for you. So thank you so much for joining. We are going to end this live stream, and have a great week. Email me at revelationquilts@yahoo.com if you have any questions or if you need me. Talk to you later. Bye.